So I've arrived to Bilbao. We're going to be walking for 3 weeks here. And something curious happened to me this evening. Today is the Sacred Heart. And as soon as we arrived here to our pension, I went to Mass in the cathedral here. Actually, I just said I'll go to the cathedral to see if there's Mass on. And as it was, I arrived 5 minutes before Mass. And the priest mentioned two things. He mentioned that Bilbao was the first place that the devotion to the Sacred Heart was preached by a Jesuit here in Bilbao. So this was the first place where the Sacred Heart devotion arrived to Spain. Of course, it was promoted heavily by the Jesuits because of Claude de la Colombière, Saint Claude de la Colombière. And he also mentioned, one thing that I found interesting. God can only look at us with love. If you think about it, a teacher might look at their pupils as people that need to be taught, or a doctor might look at his patient as somebody that I can make money from. Politicians might look at their voters as somebody to keep them in a job. Of course, teachers, politicians and doctors, they might love their patients, their students, their voters, but not always. But God can only look at us with love. God only looks at us through the heart, if you think about it. It's a lesson that maybe people can remember on this day. Sometimes we keep the faith all up here, so rationalistic, and the faith is supposed to be felt in the heart. Without the heart, without learning to love like Christ, united to Christ, being one with Christ and his love, we cannot understand God's love. We can't understand God because God can't be known. God can only be loved. That is the essence of God. St. Paul speaks about this so eloquently, in Corinthians. Anyway, just a coincidence that I arrive here and the Mass to the Sacred Heart is just about to begin. And the priest mentions that it was in Bilbao. That's the first place that the Sacred Heart was known in Spain. And just that message about how God communicates with us. Why the Sacred Heart? Why not the Sacred Head? Why not some other devotion? God is trying to teach us to love. It's the key to the spiritual life. If you do not learn to love like Christ, you can't advance in the spiritual life. You can't go further. It's these acts of love that transform our spiritual life. It is the center. And Christ, when he proclaimed his gospel, he didn't reach out to all the intellectuals in Israel. He reached out to the everyday, ordinary people, the shepherds, the fishermen, just the ordinary, everyday people. And he taught them how to love. And 2,000 years later, we're still talking about what Christ did. Maybe it should spur us on our mission. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.